Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up to support the electrification of transport and get the help you need to finance your own EV or clean energy future. And by Energy Sage. Visit the link in the description to find local, verified solar experts, community projects and heat pump specialists in your area. And by Atmos Financial. Bank better with a financial technology company that's powered by a portfolio of clean energy investments. Welcome back to another episode of TEN, Transport Evolved News. Thanks for joining me. We start today's show with the official reveal of the production Kia EV4, a vehicle that Kia says will be introduced to multiple markets around the world, including North America. Originally unveiled last year as a concept car, the EV4 will be available in 4-door sedan and 5-door hatchback versions, although not in all markets, with the choice of standard 58.3 kilowatt-hour or long-range 81.4 kilowatt-hour battery packs, offering 430 kilometres, 267 miles, or 630 kilometres, 392 miles of range, respectively, on the WLTP test cycle for the more aerodynamic sedan variant, which happens to have a drag coefficient of 0.23. While both models will be built on a 400-volt variant of the eGMP platform, they will come with V2L and V2G capabilities as standard and have 11 kilowatts of onboard charging capability. The EV4 will also be the first Kia EV with digital smart key and over-the-air functionality. The starting price is expected to be in the $37,000 equivalent price range. From the Kia EV4 to the Volkswagen ID.4 now, which has just celebrated a sizable jump in sales in January in the US. While Volkswagen had a terrible end to last year, selling just 646 Volkswagen ID.4s in the US in the last quarter of the year, it managed to sell just shy of 5,000 examples in January alone, representing a 653% increase year over year. This places it above the Honda Prologue and behind the Tesla Model Y and Model 3 in the sales chart. Why the increase in sales? Well, a new lower-cost entry-level ID.4 has helped a little, but given that Tesla sales are falling precipitously around the world, we don't have US sales data for January, but in Europe, Tesla sales dropped by 45% year over year, it's entirely conceivable that car buyers, who may have once considered the brand, have turned their attention elsewhere, and both the ID.4 and Honda Prologue fit the bill perfectly without any associated sour taste in the mouths of consumers. At CES 2024, we were given the first glance by Kia of its new platform beyond vehicles, a new connected vehicle platform for the brand, and this week it gave the official production debut of the first vehicle to be built on that platform, the PV5. While the PV5 is based on the PBV platform, that platform also shares much of its underpinnings with the eGMP series of vehicles, giving buyers of the mid-sized PV5, which will be offered in panel van, minivan and chassis cab variants, with others to come, a choice of 51.5 or 71.2 kilowatt-hours of NCM battery pack for most variants, with a smaller 43.3 kilowatt-hour LFP battery pack as an option for the cargo van variant to maximise load carrying capabilities. All versions will have a 120 kilowatt front wheel drivetrain, with production due to start in the second half of this year. While Kia has confirmed the PV5 will be sold in Europe and South Korea, it hasn't yet committed to launches in other markets. While BMW is still a few months away from officially launching its first new class EV, the brand is working hard to amp up promises for the platform that will underpin its next generation of EVs. Last week, we shared details about BMW's new Heart of Joy controller system, and this week, it's the turn of the battery pack and drivetrain, the 6th generation EV system developed by BMW. Designed around an 800-volt architecture, the new battery pack features cylindrical NMC battery cells fitted into a new cell-to-pack design that the brand says will improve range by 30% and offer a 30% decrease in charge times. In addition to the new pack, BMW says it's also improved its water and oil cooling system. There's a brand new integrated inverter and a brand new asynchronous motor design for the front axle of all-wheel drive models. But that's not all. There's also a 10% weight savings on current in-production models and a 20% cut in production costs. This is all very exciting, and we've only got a few months left before the big reveal, so watch this space. With worldwide electrical grid instability increasing thanks to the effects of anthropogenic climate change and a chronic underinvestment in the same, using your EV as a backup portable power station is becoming more and more popular. And while we've seen vehicles offer V2L and V2G for a number of years now, it's still very early days, and some systems, like the Ford Home Integration System I have, are technically proprietary. But this week, we got some great news from the US's National Electrical Manufacturers Association, or NEMA, namely that it's finally published its power export permitting standard for EV charging stations. This now means there's now an official US standard for implementing bidirectional EV charging. The standard not only covers the connection between the vehicle and its charging station and the power circuits that the charging station is connected to, but it also details how the system that controls power flow back to the electrical grid will work. It is super exciting, and honestly, I cannot wait to see it in action. Try doing that with an ICE vehicle. Ram Trucks officially introduced its 2026 Ram 1500 Ramcharger REEV pickup truck this week, a model it is calling the quote-unquote ultimate electric truck. With a 92 kilowatt-hour battery pack, this model has almost the same kind of capacity as some battery-only models on the market, but it also has a 3.6-litre V6 gasoline engine. This makes the Ramcharger a plug-in hybrid capable of 145 miles, 233 kilometres in battery mode, with an extended gasoline plus electric range of closer to 690 miles, which is 1,110 kilometres. It is worth noting, however, that the truck's fuel efficiency will really depend on how it's being driven. With the extra weight on board, if it's driven like a gas vehicle with no battery charge, its fuel economy will be worse than that of a hybrid Ford F-150. The hope is that those who buy one will actually buy it and only use the range-extending feature to tow, but there's certainly added complexity into the mix, and Ram has now suggested its battery electric version, the Ram 1500 Revolution, won't be arriving until the very end of next year, at the very earliest. Charging station provider ChargePoint confirmed at the very end of last week that it's received a notice from the New York Stock Exchange about its share price. Under New York Stock Exchange rules, if a company's average closing share price sits at under $1 for more than 30 days of consecutive trading, it will be removed from the stock exchange. In ChargePoint's case, it's done just that, resulting in notices of deficiency, with the rules of that particular exchange in place. ChargePoint says it has plans to rectify the condition. They could include a reverse stock split and other actions, but that will require shareholder approval to execute. And while some outlets have suggested this is the start of bankruptcy proceedings for the charging station manufacturer and network, we've personally not seen any evidence to back that claim up at this time. Although I will admit it doesn't look good for the brand. We will, of course, keep an eye on this one because if things do go south, it could impact a massive number of public charging sites around the world. At its latest Capital Markets Day, Mercedes-Benz laid out some changes to its brand going forward, confirming a few important things for its EV lineup. First, as previously hinted by the brand towards the end of last year, it's going to integrate its separate EQ variants and naming convention into its main portfolio, signifying EV variants by using the standard model name and then appending with EQ technology at the end, while plug-in hybrids will get with EQ hybrid technology added at the end. This means the EQS will become the S-Class with EQ technology, which is a little wordier, but Mercedes-Benz says it confuses customers less. Also worth noting is that during the event, the brand admitted that focusing on massive side-to-side in-vehicle touchscreens doesn't mean luxury, and that buyers are looking for more than a few touchscreens in a luxury vehicle. That is something that we've been noting for a while, and hopefully coach building and fit and finish will take over as a signifier of luxury. If you've owned an EV with all-wheel drive, you'll hopefully know that your car can't usually be towed with any of its wheels on the ground, as that can seriously damage your vehicle. In an internal combustion engined all-wheel drive vehicle, putting the vehicle in neutral solves that issue, but since you can't physically disconnect most motors from the wheels in most EVs, that's not an option, as most of the time, anytime the wheels turn, electrical current can be induced in the car's power electronics and motor that, if the vehicle is off, could cause significant damage to it. This week, however, we learned that Stellantis has just been given a patent in the US for a special towing mode that would apply current to induce field weakening, basically reducing the magnetic field of the motor, which then reduces the back EMF of said motor and allows it to turn more freely without causing damage. As Green Car Reports noted this week, however, Stellantis isn't the first to patent a way to tow an EV with wheels on the ground. Rivian is looking into a similar setup, but in both cases it looks like you'd need a towing vehicle capable of activating a special towing mode, and of course a tow truck operator who understands the limitations of doing this all. And finally for the segment, it's no secret that many consumers are frustrated about the ways in which automakers advertise their vehicles, especially when it comes to range per charge. Veterans of the EV world know that range depends on a whole bunch of factors, including outside temperature and weather conditions, how full your vehicle is, how you drive, and what the terrain is like, among many other things. But in Italy, the nation's antitrust authority is carrying out an official investigation into BYD, Stellantis, Tesla, and Volkswagen, focusing specifically on EV driving range, battery capacity, degradation, and battery warranties. All four brands stand accused of not fully informing customers about how their battery warranties work, what capacity degradation is, and how range varies with all of the conditions I listed earlier. In response to requests from Reuters, BYD and Volkswagen declined to comment on the investigation, and Stellantis stated publicly that it's cooperating fully with the investigation and believes it's provided accurate information. Tesla, meanwhile? Yeah, Tesla couldn't be reached for comment, presumably because the CEO has other things on his mind. Our news shorts are coming in a second, but first, a short message from one of today's video sponsors, Energy Sage. Energy Sage helps homeowners connect with local, verified solar installers across the US and now heat pump specialists in select markets who really know their stuff and can help you navigate the process of installing solar panels, help you join a community solar program, or get a heat pump installed. We used Energy Sage when we were looking for installers willing to help us put solar panels on the roof of our home, and our Energy Sage verified installers were professional, knowledgeable, and even put us in touch with an amazing credit union that allowed us to finance our solar panels for as low a monthly payment as possible. Follow the links below to sign up for either of Energy Sage's free, no-obligation services and get that ball rolling today. If you choose to use an Energy Sage installer for your project, we will also get a small referral fee, so you'll be helping the channel too. Help the grid get greener, save money, and support this channel? It's a win-win-win. And now it's time for our news shorts, and we start today with 6 different recalls. Rivian has officially issued recalls for 17,000 R1 models in the US after it was discovered that in cold weather, low-beam headlights may not properly illuminate. Rivian is going to replace the headlight control modules of affected vehicles under warranty. Super 73 has recalled approximately 1,400 electric bicycles after it was discovered that on affected bicycles, the retaining pin within the disc brake calipers may loosen and detach, resulting in an inability to safely brake and stop in an emergency. While it was submitted earlier in February, Nikola has just issued an official recall of 95 of its Nikola Tre fuel cell trucks after it was discovered that a mounting bolt on affected vehicles' fuel tanks may be too long and damage the hydrogen fuel tanks. Despite the firm's financial woes, the recall is seemingly continuing as planned. Audi has recalled the Q5 plug-in hybrid SUV in the US to rectify a dangerous potential for battery overheating. If it sounds similar to a battery recall carried out on EVs with damaged battery packs, you'd be right. And Audi says it will install a more advanced battery monitoring system on affected cars. Sounds familiar. Mercedes-Benz has recalled some 2024 e-Sprinters in the US to address a broken weld on the helical gear system within the rear drive axle. In the case of failure, the motor cannot drive the wheels, leading to a total loss of drive power. Tesla has issued an official recall for approximately 376,000 Model 3 and Model Y to address a problem that can result in a sudden loss of power steering. Affected vehicles will be fixed via an over-the-air software update. Geely-owned EV company Farizon has opened the order books in the UK for its Farizon SV electric van. It will be offered in 5 different guises with a choice of 3 different battery packs ranging from 67 kWh up to 106 kWh. At its EV Day earlier this week, Kia unveiled the smallest EV crossover it's made yet, the Kia EV2. Similar in size to the Hyundai Insta EV, it features a 49 kWh battery pack and, joy of joys, a front bench seat. It's coming to market as a production model, but likely with a more conventional interior, and probably not the bench seat. Polestar is offering customers with a swashbuckling EV the chance to switch to a Polestar with a special $5,000 swashbuckling discount. At the same time, Polestar announced this week it's going to start using Volvo's dealer network to sell its models to customers alongside its online sales. Portugal has announced its intent to simplify the process of installing charging stations in the nation. Previously installed stations had to all connect to the same charging app system, but now that will be removed if a new bill is passed. Additional changes aim to support bidirectional charging and make it easier for EV owners to pay for the power they use. Hyundai is reportedly considering an expansion of its Hyundai Motor Group Meta Plant America in Georgia in order to help expand its domestic US production. This would help it avoid import tariffs being threatened by the US federal government on all imported vehicles. And it's official. 1 week after we told you H2 Hyva was in financial difficulties, we've got the confirmation that the firm is being liquidated. It was a joint venture between Renault and Plug Power, but it's been in insolvency proceedings, and now that's been converted to a state of liquidation. Lucid has been teasing its next EV in the form of a mid-size SUV for some time, but this week, during the company's earnings call, it confirmed that the vehicle will be unveiled either early next year or later this, with a target price set to be under $50,000. The intentional destruction of the EV industry in the US continued this week when President Trump and Elon Musk confirmed that the General Services Administration has been instructed to close all EV charging stations at federally owned buildings, as well as selling off the entire US federal government's electric vehicle fleet. We did a massive deep dive video on it this week, so check it out if you haven't. Lynk&Co has unveiled a new plug-in hybrid model with a difference. It's a mid-size SUV that promises an electric-only range of 124 miles or 200 kilometres. While most people would do better with an EV, more choice is good. Nissan confirmed this week it intends to unveil a new model to the US this year that comes with NACS as standard, with production expected to begin for early next year. Although it won't confirm this officially, rumours do suggest that vehicle is the next-generation Nissan Leaf. Dacia has announced it's working on a new low-cost city car for Europe that will have a starting price of under £15,000 sterling. The brand told Autocar that it hopes to have the tiny EV completed in 16 months of development. Following on the tail of the news last week that it would begin selling its delivery vehicle to anyone who wanted one, Rivian has announced this week that it's beginning its own upfit program designed to help fleet managers and customers custom spec their next Rivian EV. Volvo teased more details about its upcoming ES90 sedan this week, confirming that it's going to have an 800-volt battery pack and drivetrain and will be capable of super-fast charging while offering up to 435 miles, 700 kilometres of range per charge. Volkswagen-owned Scout confirmed this week that while its first models are not due to launch for 2 years, its plug-in hybrid will have a towing capacity that's 1/2 of battery electric variants due to differences in the battery chemistries used for each vehicle. Jeep's parent company, Stellantis, has officially paused all refitting work at its Brampton assembly plant in Ontario, Canada. It had been working to get the facility ready to make the all-electric Jeep Compass for the US, but has decided to pause to ensure it offers customers a, quote, range of vehicles with flexible powertrain options to best meet their needs, end quote. No EV in sight. BP has launched its first dedicated EV charging and convenience hub in the UK. Looking a little like an old-fashioned petrol station, complete with cafe and store, it's located on the busy Cromwell Road on the A4 in Hammersmith, London. Peter Rawlinson has stepped down as company CEO of Lucid Motors. Announced during the company's quarterly earnings this week, Rawlinson will retain an advisory role at the firm, effectively retiring from day-to-day operations. Mark Winterhoff, Lucid's COO, has stepped in as interim CEO until a replacement can be found. A UK startup called Ionetic has opened a new battery production facility in Northamptonshire, UK, worth £5 million sterling. It aims to use software-accelerated battery pack development to lower the cost of EV batteries for small-volume automakers. Northern Ireland is now officially home to the UK's largest FastNed charging hub. Launched this week, it features 6 charging columns with 2 charging stations per column. The site is capable of providing 1.2 megawatts of power split across 12 EVs. Due to an oversupply of cobalt around the world, the Democratic Republic of the Congo has initiated an official export ban on cobalt. The ban is expected to last at least 4 months. Many automakers are also looking for alternative cobalt supplies, covering concerns of human rights violations in the Congo connected with child and slave labour in so-called artisan mines. After a massive loss in the fourth quarter, UK firm Aston Martin has announced its plans on cutting 5% of its workforce. At the same time, it wants to, yet again, delay its first electric model. It was originally due this year and is now planned for the latter part of the decade. The UK government has extended its subsidy programme for electric vans and taxis for another year. The Department for Transport has set aside a total of £121 million sterling in additional funding. The programme was due to end this April. Wallbox has announced it's secured an additional round of funding worth $10 million that will enable it to expand its production and sales. It announced last year it had secured $45 million additional dollars. It ultimately wants to expand its US presence. The tiny, diminutive Wuling Hongguang Mini EV has proven very popular in its home market of China, and now it has a new variant. Announced this week, Chinese customers can now buy a 4-door variant of the pint-sized EV, which features a 205-kilometre range on the Chinese test cycle. While sales figures of a certain EV brand are positively tanking in Europe, sales data from January shows that other EV sales soared, up 34% year over year. Germany leads the sales push, which some in the industry link to tightening emissions regulations. Early customers of the Renault 5 and its sportier sibling, the Alpine A290, are reporting issues with their cars. According to certain media reports, failures with vehicles' inverters are causing cars to not turn on, resulting in a flatbed trip to the local dealership for repair. The BYD Atto 2 has been officially priced in Europe in its launch markets of France and the Netherlands. While other markets will likely get tweaked pricing, in France it retails from just under €30,000, while in the Netherlands just over €31,500. BMW has confirmed its paused plans to bring production of its new all-electric Mini models to the UK. It had previously planned to start building its newest Mini EVs at its Oxford production facility, spiritual home of the Mini brand, but now the factory's future remains uncertain. Chinese brand NIO has leaked new details about its latest all-electric model, the L90. Rather than being sold as a NIO model, however, it will be sold under the brand's sub-brand Onvo, a brand that focuses on affordability. The L90 is being sold as a 3-row SUV, but it looks like a pumped-up old-school station wagon. Researchers at Princeton University's Department of Chemistry state they have made a breakthrough in sodium-ion battery cell design that does not make use of metal for its cathode. Instead, the battery uses a layered organic solid known as TAQ. So let us know if you want more info. Stellantis has unveiled its own hands-off semi-autonomous driver assistance feature. It offers level 3 hands-off, eyes-off functionality at speeds of up to 37 miles per hour or 60 kilometers per hour, and it's called STLA Autodrive. It promises a future where the system can operate at much higher speeds. And finally for the news shorts, Lilium, the eVTOL company that was seemingly rescued from the jaws of death at the very end of last year, it has yet again filed for insolvency. Despite a rescue effort from a consortium of buyers, the brand's financial woes have been deepening and staff apparently still haven't been paid. And those are your news shorts. There will be more next week. Our final two stories are next, but first a quick word from friend of the channel, Atmos Financial. Imagine a bank where your savings not only grow, but also go towards growing a greener world. That is exactly what Atmos Financial does for you. With Atmos, every dollar in your checking and savings account is funding projects that light up lives with solar energy rather than fossil fuels. Atmos is banking that builds a better tomorrow with every swipe of your card today, because it's committed to investing 100% into clean, equitable and sustainable progress. With a competitive savings rate and a mobile app, your finances and the climate can go hand in hand. It charges no monthly fees and there are no minimums keeping you awake at night. It even offers accessible solar loans for those who want to give the fossil fuel industry the ultimate middle finger. By joining Atmos using the link below, you're not only choosing a smarter way to bank, you're planting seeds for a healthier earth. And since every sign-up supports this channel, it means that we can keep bringing you the content you love. I'm personally a customer, and I love knowing that I'm helping save money while also making sure that money doesn't end up funding the fossil fuel industry. As always, thanks to Atmos for sponsoring the show. And now, it's time for those last two stories. For a really long time now, solid-state batteries have been looked to as one of the next big holy grails of EV battery tech. They're more energy-dense, are more chemically stable, and have a much lower likelihood of suffering catastrophic failures. And this week, Mercedes-Benz confirmed it's officially begun testing solid-state batteries in the real world. It's begun conducting long-range tests of a stock Mercedes-Benz EQS fitted with a solid-state battery pack built by its battery partner, Factorial Energy. So far, the results are good. While it's a long way from production status, Mercedes-Benz AMG High Performance Powertrains team, along with colleagues from Mercedes AMG F1, will be putting the vehicle through an exhaustive series of tests to examine charging time, range, and performance characteristics. We cannot wait to see what the results of this turn out to be. And finally, there's been quite a bit of FUD, that's fear, uncertainty and doubt, being spread online these days about electric vehicles, and in the age of the new US president, that's getting worse, not better. One of the most common shared fears, though, is that electric vehicles break down more than internal combustion engine vehicles and require more time at the dealership and have more expensive repairs. And while there is some data to back that up, it's nearly all from higher-end, more expensive models, with more in-car tech and computers than the NCC 1701D. But this week, a new study from JD Power showed what we've been saying for a really long time. The less complicated an EV, the more reliable it is. In fact, of all of the owners surveyed in its most recent study, it showed that premium EVs have far more problems than their less expensive counterparts, although the survey did note that this is thankfully changing as premium brands improve reliability. But given that we've been driving less complex EVs for a really long time, I've got to respond to this with a, well, duh. I mean, isn't it a given that when you make something more complicated, you increase the likelihood of failure? And on that note, we are done for today. As always, a massive thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring today's show. They have been advocating for EVs since 1967 and firmly believe that our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green electric cars today. The EVA can help you find someone near to you that can help you make that switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. Plus, if you become a member, you'll gain access to a clean energy and EV loan program set up between the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union and the EVA. You can find out more by heading to myeva.org. And thanks to Energy Sage. Follow the link below to find out how easy it can be to get verified, trustworthy solar experts helping make the step towards energy self-sufficiency through solar on the roof of your home, by joining a community solar project, or by getting a heat pump installed. And thanks to Atmos Financial. Bank better by following the link below. And if you are someone who made your own transportation or energy greener this week, well done. I've heard from several of you. You rock. So if you'd like to support the channel directly, please consider supporting us from $1.50 a month on Patreon, which is just under $13 a year if you pay annually. We are viewer supported because we passionately believe the information we produce should be free for everyone. So if you do support us, thank you. Don't forget too that we have swag you can buy over at our swag store, and you can make one-off donations to the channel using Ko-fi, Bitcoin, or even old-fashioned checks. We also have an Amazon affiliate program code you can use if you decide to support Mr. Bezos. Personally, we don't like Amazon and try and avoid it, but since Amazon allocates a percentage of its funds either to affiliates or its own bank balance, we would much rather you'd help us out than help out Mr. Bezos if and when you have to use that site. So the link is in the down below. You can find other content from us on our main channel and on Transport Evolved Take 2. We publish on our main channel on Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday, and on our second channel, Transport Evolved 2, over on a Sunday. To finish, remember that you are valid, you are loved, and you have a place in this world, even if you are among the thousands of people being targeted by a government for simply existing or having the wrong type of job. Some of the legislation that's been passed this week. But know that it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to be angry, scared, and want to just curl up. Go do something to make you feel better. That's okay to take time off to care for yourself. Know that existence is resistance. It makes it harder for hate to exist. So be inspirational, be yourself, be bold, and do good. Don't let hatred win. And for goodness sake, if you are in a position, make up safety phrases and escape plans that you can use with friends and family if you're in a threatened place. Speak up. Be bold, tell people about those red cards, the tarjeta roja, and make sure that you attend your local community town halls and become an active voice for change if you want things to be different to how they are now. And no, we're not going anywhere, however many threats are coming our way. There are many, every day. So until next time, stay safe regardless of your identity or who you love. Be an amazing ally, be kind, be that positive change you want to see in the world, and please, for the sake of everyone's future, don't let hate or ignorance win. Keep evolving.